Mic check, 1, 2.
Mic check. Mic check.
Check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2. Here we go. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 173 of This is the G Podcast. Yes. What's going on, y'all? We are back for another week, and it is NFL draft weekend as we speak. It's done, but it's the 2023 NFL draft weekend. Also, I like to call it the Becky Lottery weekend, pretty much. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to explain it. No explanation needed. Also, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. I'm joking, y'all. Come on.
I'm not.
What you say, Tanya B? You not. You know what's up. Tucker Carlson, Don Lemon taking out the building in the same day. Who'd have thunk it? Cable news shakeup. We'll talk about it. Also, great leader. We lost a great one this week. Another mass shooting as we tape night before. And I got to say, give him this. Comedian Roy Woods Jr., who used to do mornings here in the ATL. And now he's always been a correspondent for the Daily Show. But he lit up some political asses last night at the correspondents' dinner. He went in, especially went in on Clarence Thomas. I didn't know it was okay to go in on a judge.
Long as you don't never need him.
But damn,
Hey, long as you
ooh, he went in.
long as you need him.
I gotta give it up. Let me give him his applause. If you didn't get a chance, and I know most of you don't watch the Correspondence Dinner, but your boy Roy Woods Jr. just put some foot in ass last night. Here's a drink to him. Hold up your cans if you got them. But also Tanya B. Tanya B is in the building. What's going on, Tanya B? Yes.
Yeah, I'm on my tour again.
The Bird Wire every Friday, Saturday night, 8 p.m., 10 p.m. on Castropolis.net. Also,
Yes.
you can check it out Saturdays at noon, and it is on demand throughout the week. If you miss it over the weekend, just go to Castropolis.net, and the current episode is there. You did 1985 this week, right?
Yeah, it was part 2. Last week was R&B. This week was the club and dance jams. And I know if you are of a certain age, everybody remembers all the flack that Tremaine Hawkins got for Fall Down on Me. And now every gospel artist has 2 goals: get on the R&B chart, get on the club set.
Yeah.
And she did it way before anybody else did it. So shout out
Yeah.
to her.
Yeah, definitely shout out. Great show this week, definitely.
Thank you. Oh, wait till next week.
You played, the Skipworth and Turner. That was hot. Hot.
Yeah.
So definitely, we'll get to the tea in a few. And
All right.
and he is here, the country commentator. Y'all give it up for the one and only Vi's in the building. Vi, you happy?
Hey, there's a new team in the NFL called the Philly. I am very happy.
Don't nobody care.
Ooh, we care.
Don't nobody
Excuse
care.
you? If I had pearls, I clasp them. I grasp them. I'm sorry, I grasp the clasp. But it was like
Everybody care. Y'all just don't want to acknowledge it. I'm okay with that.
Hey, it's cool. I think everybody got what they needed, from a team standpoint, and we'll see how it works out. I mean, honestly, it's argument. It can be argued, and I'm not going to argue it on this show because, quite frankly, here's the deal. The young, I'm not going. I mean, I know Syracuse Mike's going to allude to it, but the young man that got sent to Philly this weekend actually needed to go to Philly. I don't think he needed to stay close. I think he needed to be, go to a team outside of Georgia. So I think that was the right move. I think it's good for his for him growing as a man and getting beyond some of his challenges. He needed to be in another state. I think being in Georgia was just too close to some mess.
Well, I don't know if I agree. I think Philly was a good move because he around familiar people who knows him, and that makes you stay on the right track.
Yeah, I agree, and I think sometimes it's just like when you act an ass at your parents' house, they send you to grandma. They send you away.
I don't think he
Oh,
was.
wait, let me say this.
Don't think he would have got that in Atlanta.
No. I mean, I think sending him to some familiar guys who he probably looks up to will keep his ass from doing 200 on a 45-mile-per-hour zone. But go ahead, Tanya B.
Well, see, one thing is Philadelphia is a very economical plane ride away from Georgia, number one. Number two, he needs to remember he's going to the city that booed Santa Claus. So don't think you're gonna come up there. That's Jalen Hurts town, first of all.
Yeah, it is.
Although he may come in and do some great things, he's this is not home, and he's not going to go in there and take over. And he's got, in Philly, he's got to, when I say he's got to earn his cheesesteak, you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I think Jalen Hurts is probably one of the strongest leaders in the NFL for his age, and I don't see him allowing anyone to go in and disrupt the chemistry they have on that team. So, and I think Howie Rosen, who's the general manager, he knows how to handle a lot of that. And Philly, even going back to the days of Michael Vick, when Michael Vick left and when he, of course, got out of his incarceration, served his time, he went to Philly, and I think Philly has a solid record of, I guess, rehabilitating, some of the, I don't want to call them malcontents,
the downtrodden
souls. Mm-hmm. So, hopefully it'll be good, but I'm excited about, the Falcons. I'm excited about it. I'm excited. Hey, you got anything else? Well, go ahead. We'll go ahead and Tanya B. Go ahead.
They won a game. What happened? The Falcons? You said?
No. I'm happy, and I'm not gonna. We got a little bit of time. We got a little bit of time, but I will tell you that I think the choice Bijan out of Texas, I think was a good choice. I think they've got some really good flexibility when it comes down. Coming out of the backfield. So I think it's a good move. I think, he's a speed threat. He has not dropped a ball, I think, in like 2 seasons coming out of college. So, he's got good hands. He's got speed. He's got a hell of a head on his shoulder. He's community oriented. So, I think, Arthur Blank don't want that. He don't want to go through what he went through with Vic again. He doesn't want to go through that mess. So I think they are very, very cautious when they, if they see somebody with a blemish, they're very cautious because of what they went through with Vic. Vi, you had something else to say? Go ahead.
I think we did the best we could do. I would say that much.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say that much.
Yeah. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and do this and we'll come back. We got a lot to talk about in news. So I want to go ahead and get to it. Do it, Syracuse Mike. Here we go.
News team, assemble!
It's time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
Harry Belafonte has died. The singer, actor, and civil rights activist passed away Tuesday at his home in New York. He was born Harold George Belafonte Jr. in 1927. He first popularized calypso music in the 1950s. His song Deo, the Banana Boat Song, was a huge international hit. Belafonte maintained an acting career alongside music and won a Tony Award in 1954. His activism defined him as much as his entertainment career. From bailing Dr. King out of a Birmingham jail in 1963 and serving as the co-sponsor of the March on Washington, to his later work as an advocate for prostate awareness in the 1990s, Belafonte was involved in countless causes in the U.S. and all over the world. Former President Barack Obama said via Twitter that Belafonte was a barrier-breaking legend who used his platform to lift others up. He lived a good life, transforming the arts while also standing up for civil rights. And he did it all with his signature smile and style. Belafonte was 96. The white woman who accused Emmett Till, a black teenager, of grabbing and whistling at her, died this week in Louisiana. Carolyn Bryant Dunham was 88. Till was eventually kidnapped and lynched in 1955. The 2 white men charged with killing Till were acquitted by an all-white jury. The Justice Department said after an investigation a few years ago that there remains considerable doubt as to the credibility of Dunham's version of events. He served as the mayor of Cincinnati, was a news anchor in that town, and is best known for his wild and popular national talk show.
Willie says one night of bad decisions is his biggest regret. Willie, what's going on?
Jerry Springer has died after a battle with pancreatic cancer.
Till next time, take care of yourself and each other.
Springer was 79. Big cable news terminations Monday. 2 well-known TV personalities will not be returning to their respective networks. First, it was announced that Tucker Carlson was out at Fox News. Carlson became a key figure in the lawsuit filed against Fox by voting machine company Dominion Voting Systems. Then, less than an hour later, in an unrelated move, we learned that CNN's Don Lemon was out. Lemon said via Twitter that he was stunned to learn that he had been fired by the network, claiming they didn't have the decency to tell him directly. He said he found out from his agent. CNN has responded saying Lemon was given a chance to meet with management, but chose to send out a tweet instead. Lemon has been in hot water recently, in part over public comments he made about women. Kim Potter has been released from prison. She's the former police officer who says she mistakenly grabbed her gun instead of her taser before killing Dante Wright in Minnesota. Earlier this month, Wright's mother criticized the short sentence that Potter received.
Every day I'm afraid I'm going to forget his voice, and she gets to go home to hers because the justice system failed us.
Potter served 2/3 of her 2-year sentence for Wright's death in 2021. President Biden made it official Tuesday morning. He is running for re-election.
When I ran for president 4 years ago, I said we're in a battle for the soul of America, and we still are. The question we're facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom.
It came as no surprise and occurred exactly 4 years to the day that he launched his 2020 presidential campaign. The family of the UGA player killed in the January 15th car crash is planning to file a wrongful death lawsuit against the university. Devin Willock and recruiting analyst Chandler LaCroix died in the crash that happened hours after the school's championship celebration in Athens. A legal notice sent by attorneys representing Willock's father, Dave Willock, disputes statements made by the university in the weeks following the crash. Disney has filed a federal lawsuit against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, claiming he is harming the company's business operations. There's been an ongoing feud between the governor and Disney since last year. You'll remember Disney came out publicly against Florida's parental rights in education bill, dubbed by critics as the Don't Say Gay law. One of Florida's most influential employers is making this a freedom of speech issue. In return, the governor has been working to put an end to Disney's control of its long-standing special tax district known as Reedy Creek, which allowed Disney to essentially govern itself. According to several media outlets, former Vice President Mike Pence spent over 7 hours before the grand jury investigating former President Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Pence testified before the grand jury at the D.C. District Court. Brittany Griner gave her first news conference Thursday since being freed from Russian detention. Griner says there's only one way she'd consider playing overseas again.
Well, I can say for me, I'm never going overseas to play again unless I'm representing my country at the Olympics. You know, if I make that team, that would be the only time I would leave the U.S. soil, and that's just to represent the USA. I'll say this, you know, the whole reason a lot of us go over, you know, is the pay gap. You know, a lot of us go over there to make an income to support our families.
Griner also says she's hoping that the press will continue covering the WNBA so that the league continues to grow. In sports, the Hawks season is over, and UGA's Jalen Carter goes to Philadelphia as the number 9 overall pick in the NFL draft.
And it's over, Sacramento. You out. You know what? I want to hear, as the Hawks are gone, you know, I want to hear from all those folks who said Sacramento was going to advance because of Huerter. I want to hear, because all those folks who are talking about how Huerter, how, you know, the loss of Huerter impacted the Hawks so much and it was going to help Sacramento. I want to hear from those folks. I really do, because they gone. They out. And it's going to be interesting because now it's going to be Lakers, Golden State. That's going to be a hell of a series. Hell of a series. All right, y'all, on the real news, here we go. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought that Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson would go out on the same day? Did you see that coming, Tanya B? Talking to you. I can't hear your mic.
Honestly, I don't watch Tucker Carlson, and I don't get about him. Now, Don Lemon, I'm not surprised because it's almost like he was giving them reasons to get rid of him. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more on the T. But I thought he would have lasted a little bit longer, but he was smart because he just renewed the contract. So, hey, I'm not mad at him.
Vi?
I'm not surprised because, like I said, he was doing too much. They moved into the daytime, ratings went down, and he was doing too much. I mean,
what about Tucker?
Now that surprised because he was their number 1 rated show.
Yeah.
But then I found out the things he said about them when they interviewed him, when he get ready to go on that stand. That's probably why they got rid of him. He probably couldn't say some damaging stuff when he got on that stand.
Oh yeah. The real thing came out.
But you know, I agree with you. I mean, I'm like, you know, the ratings on CNN have been horrible in the morning. And it was interesting when they put Don Lemon on because Don's numbers at night were actually some of the best numbers on the network, you know. Right. So, but when they moved him to mornings, of course, were already in trouble. So, you know, he didn't help. But again, the things he said about Nikki Haley, you know, about her not being in her prime, some of the other misogynistic, you know, you'll get into it, Tanya B and the T. I'm not going to get into it. But the Tucker Carlson thing, yeah, go ahead.
It was almost like he wanted them to fire him.
Yeah. Well, the Tucker Carlson thing surprised me because of the fact that the numbers were so huge. He is basically Fox when you look at it. And as a matter of fact, now that he's gone, this week the numbers came out and Fox tanked. I mean, they're already starting to tank with him gone. So I'm not, you know, I'm going to let you get into the Don Lemon stories, Tanya B and the T, But Carlson, you're absolutely right. He was a problem. I mean, here's the thing: when you're already doing on stand with the defamation issues, okay, and he is taking the video footage from McCarthy, House Leader McCarthy, and doing his own thing while they're over here having, the trial, for the Dominion issue. And he's starting a new issue by saying that January 6th, the video basically shows that it was just a picnic and a day out, so yeah, I mean, I saw, if you look at it from that standpoint, it was a problem because in the middle of that trial, if you remember the video that McCarthy gave him, and he went on television and said, "Oh, this looks fine. What's the problem?" So yeah, and I mean, honestly, mixed bag on Don. Some people hated him, some people loved him, but some of the things I think toward the end, he was standing up for Black people when nobody else on the network was left to. So it's just going to be interesting to see who stands up, because one of the issues, and I'm going to say this, one of the last things he fought one of the GOP candidates on, the guy said that basically after Black folks were freed as slaves, the Second Amendment helped them get their rights. And he had to break it down. He had to go through, hey, this is Reconstruction. We had to go through, civil rights movement. We had to go, he had to break it down for this cat who, again, was telling lies on TV.
All right,
so,
but I think any anchor or news person or news professional of color that was talking to that individual whose name I'm not going to mention because he's not worth the air, if somebody didn't chin check him, they would have lost all their cred. I don't care.
But you know what, Tanya B?
It was Gayle King.
What's her name on Fox? She does it every day. I'm just saying to you.
Oh, her?
Yeah, and I'm just saying to you, there are many of them who would not have stepped up and just let him get away with it.
You know why? Because they're scared of their bag. But we sent her back over there with Omarosa.
Yeah,
he wasn't. He can't do what he did at night and do it during the day.
Well, he found out.
But I don't think he cared. Like she said, he had just signed the contract. Well, fire me. Y'all got to pay me anyway. Okay.
Yeah, well, he said he's not in a rush to get back to work, so we'll see.
Look, if I'm bringing home $100,000 a year and not working, I wouldn't be in a hurry to go back to work.
Oh, dude, it's far more than $100,000.
I'm just saying. I know it's far more than that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But I'm saying,
if you're paying me
comparatively speaking, yeah,
correct.
Okay.
You give me, I ain't gonna be in no hurry to work. Matter of fact, Baker, I say, hey, Baker, I become
you don't stop.
I become a full-time employee for you with no pay. Every day.
I hear you. And Tommy B for the record. There you go. Tanya B, what were you about to say?
No, I was just agreeing with Vi. It's like, man, you can make that bag and not have to get out of bed in the morning for the next how many years? Look, I'm not mad.
Well, he said he's not in a hurry. He's definitely not in a hurry to get back to work.
Go travel and see the world, because I'm pretty sure the people out there want him on TV because he's still a name.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. There are some.
Moving right along, Harry Belafonte, I posted on Instagram, really definitely a loss in terms of when you look at entertainers who stuck their neck out and really always constantly put their bag at risk. He was one of them. Let me finish. Just the opposite of what you see a lot of these entertainers do today. I mean, he, again, as Mike said, he bailed out Dr. King. He endorsed Kennedy. He's one of the first, high profile entertainers when he was winning Tony Awards. It wasn't like his career was over. It was at the peak of his career when he did this. Yeah.
He wants someone to hear anything because of his activities. Am I correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, when it comes down to it, a lot of these guys, especially during that time, when you look at Paul Robeson and a lot of the Black entertainers, they were, fighting for our rights, but, they were also being placed on these un-American lists, the McCarthy list, if you recall. They were being branded as communist. So, it was a risk for any Black entertainer back then to go against the grain and not just, like they tell LeBron, just shut up and dribble, but he didn't do that. But I was telling people, you know, I loved his activism, but I also love the fact that he was a great collaborator on the entertainment side. I love the Sidney Poitier collaborations. If you guys, I don't know if you remember Buck and the Preacher.
Oh yeah,
Probably one of my favorite movies. You know, I saw it at the world famous Bankhead Drive-In back in the day. But you know, Buck, which one? It was Buck and the Preacher. Was he in Let's Do It Again?
No.
Yeah, Let's Do It Again.
Was
Yes.
it?
Okay.
Yeah,
he was.
Sidney Poitier was in about.
And,
Harry went into.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah,
he played the gangster. They stuffed his mouth. He looked like a black Marlon Brando. Uptown Saturday Night.
Okay, got
Oh, it was Uptown Saturday
Yeah,
Night. Okay.
yeah.
Right.
But a great loss. Rest in power. One of the things, and I'll move on. Just kind of maybe surprising to people, was the little tiff he got into with the King family, where he sued the King family over some relics, some things that he had that they said he should not have sold, to the point where I think he was, when Coretta Scott King passed away, he wasn't invited to. I mean, he was, you know, incredibly close to the King family, but because of that tiff, you know, in terms of him selling something that the King family said belonged to them, they didn't invite him to the to Coretta Scott King's funeral. And the other reason was Bush was there, and you know, he used to clown Bush, George W. You know, so the other thing is, I think they had invited President Bush, and they didn't want to invite Belafonte because, you know, the fact that, you know, he was a huge Bush critic. He was clowning Bush every day, every chance he got. I think when Bush was in office, he could be talking about the menu, and all of a sudden say, "Man, I'm getting Bush," you know, just out of the blue. So yeah, rest in power, man. What a loss to our community. And the other thing, real quick, and I want to just get your thoughts. Most of the country does not want Biden to run again. And you know, what are your thoughts? And I'll start with you, Vi, since you were breathing the hardest.
I understand why they don't, but who we got to win? He's our best candidate. Well, I'm gonna say he's our best candidate, but he's our best candidate to win.
Yeah.
Who else they got to run?
Well,
and
I mean,
don't want him to run because he's old, very old. That's why they want him to run again. Other than that, that's it.
Tanya B.
But the thing is, like I said, it's almost like the devil you know, because now Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's avid anti-vaxxer, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Kennedy era, to me, that ship has sailed. He is not the answer.
Look, Tanya B, can I say this because you're from Boston?
Say it.
I cannot put up with that guy's voice.
Well, you know, he has some type of
his mom was the same. Ethel was the same. You know, same thing.
I don't think there's a medical name for what he has.
Yeah, he does.
The thing about it is,
I can't handle it.
It wouldn't matter because he wouldn't last more than one rally. He wouldn't have the voice. He might be the first candidate that will really appeal to him. Nobody come for me because I'm not sending it for you. I'm just calling the thing a thing. Yeah. He might become the biggest advocate for people that, you know, that are hearing impaired, or people who don't have the ability to speak. Because I think he wouldn't last a campaign. He would lose. I mean, really, I think he would lose his ability to speak because he just about lost it now. So I don't think that would be the case. And all the people that would vote for him based on the name, a lot of them have gone on to glory.
Oh, absolutely.
And their children and grandchildren don't care. So it's almost like he's more of a stranger running for president than, let's see, you just pick some non-discreet. It's a shame. You pick some Democrat. Look, more people know Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff than know Robert Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, I mean, it's a waste.
I don't know anything, but what has he done?
Basically, he's just an anti-vaxxer. That's all. That's the biggest thing.
Anti-vaxxer, you know. But one thing he did do that for a while, he did carry on until he got hit in the head with something. But nobody come for me either. Until then, you know, the Kennedys, the children will always be public servants and things along that line. And he did do a lot for that, helping people, you know, who are low income and things along that line. But that ship has passed, and like right now, that's not the thing that he can bring up, because it's not about what you've done. It's about what can you do and what have you done lately and what are you really going to commit to do. So all the good things that he's done are in the past, and it's not going to help move the needle for him. For me,
look. Let's just say this, Vi. Let me just say this, and we need to move on. It's bad when your family doesn't even endorse you. Okay, the Kennedy family said, "No, we sticking
Caroline
with Biden."
said, no, Caroline said, let me say,
The family.
Caroline Kennedy has more name recognition now than him. Heck, her brother John Kennedy has more name recognition in death than Robert Kennedy Jr. has right now in life.
Look.
He should look what happened to Herschel. If your family don't back you, that means you got something.
No, I'm talking about the power of the Kennedy name has stepped out and said, we do not endorse this guy. We're sticking with Biden. And
well,
I'll
they
just
still
leave it
kill
at that.
Kennedys too, so you know.
Well, still, the majority of the family says nope. So one more thing, I do want to mention when it comes down, to that whole situation with Biden. His what his slogan should be in the general election should be, Biden Harris 2024, because the other guy is going to be in jail. I would do that. I just do. That
or Geritol, one or the other.
No. I would use that as a slogan. Biden Harris 2024, because the other guy is in jail. Now I'll leave it at that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can we just go with that?
If they put him in jail, yeah.
If they put him in jail, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on. Here we go.
Now then, children, it's time for tea.
It's tea time, y'all. Sipping the tea with Tanya B.
I think that's a good slogan. I think that I'm gonna send it to Kamala and say, hey,
trademark it first.
Trademark. I'm gonna put it on a t-shirt.
Trademark it first. But
I'm gonna put it on a t-shirt and a bumper sticker, and I'm gonna send it to the.
What? Hey, make sure you got your lawyer. If Trump said he coming at you,
so
his team of lawyers coming.
No,
at you.
I didn't say a name. I just said because the other guy is in jail, and
he know who you talking about. He coming at you.
Come on, Cletus. What you got, Tanya B? What you got?
Let me just say this. They moved R. Kelly down to a jail in North Carolina, so there's an empty cell ready for the other guy in New York. So maybe they're just making room. They put R. Kelly down there with the Unabomber.
Making room. All right. What you got, Tanya B?
Quickly go over a couple of things that Syracuse Mike mentioned that you mentioned. Jerry Springer, he said he made light of how he destroyed humanity with his talk show, but I get it. He passed away from a battle with cancer. And Len Goodman from Dancing with the Stars, a cranky old guy that was a judge, he had lost a battle with bone cancer. I want to say shout out, prayers up to DC's favorite son, Johnny Gill, not Johnny Thrill of New Edition. He lost his mom, Miss Ann, who I had the pleasure of meeting. She was a really, really nice lady. So prayers up to Johnny and his family. You may remember the comedian Richard Lewis.
Yep.
Okay, he has retired from stand-up, and he may end up having to leave Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's got Parkinson's. So
he's hilarious on that show. Him and JB Smoove.
He is, yeah. Oh, JB Smoove is hilarious. And one thing about Harry Belafonte that one thing that you and that Mike didn't mention to you also, that Harry Belafonte was an EGOT. He was an early EGOT, so you got to give him 5 on it for that. And also because of his his unique way of just being a game changer just for the culture, period. He's also one of the few actors. Yes, he was an entertainer. He was the first Black performer to sell more than 1 million records with the Banana Boat song, the Day-O song.
Big time.
He's actually in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well. So I just, as when people are giving Mr. Belafonte his accolades, I want to recognize him for that, because I think it definitely is noteworthy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't find a lot of activists that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it was, like I said, primarily because of his activism and him changing the culture, just being a real game changer. Not so much a Day-O singer. And don't forget, the whole the brouhaha back in 1968 with him and Petula Clark. They couldn't sing together. He couldn't touch her. Don't touch her. She's a white woman. And he was like, did it anyway. So I like the fact that he was really an activist. And one thing I want to say, which you mentioned about the King family, I get what they're saying, but let's we not forget that he paid for Dr. King's entire funeral. Lest we not forget that he financially supported that family after Dr. King died, because they didn't, he did a lot of that stuff just on the strong, and didn't have a lot of money, and he financially supported that family. So y'all don't be ingrates,
It was a little petty. Petty.
Yeah, okay. Also, his was not petty. Will somebody please go around the corner down to Tyrese's house and call the peoples He clearly needs to get he just needs a mental health check and make sure, is he on his meds? He must be off of them. And here's why I say that. Now, I said this before, that Tyrese needs to stay off of social media because it actually came back to bite him in the butt.
Yeah.
You can't talk greasy about the judge in your divorce case on social media. You can't talk about your estranged wife greasy on social media. You have a child involved, okay? Think about that. And then put out a song about your ex-wife and then don't understand why you're held in contempt of court. I'm like, he made his own bed. Now he's going to have to lie in it. And that's just because the judge does not care about Tyrese getting on Instagram at 5:00 in the morning crying. Okay. And
yeah, he called the judge a racist.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? And the judge said, you know what, Tyrese, you got to pay. Now he could tell me, I got money. Well, you know, the Fast and Furious, if that came to an end, he wouldn't have that much money because he ain't selling records. Ain't nobody listening to that song he wrote and recorded with Lenny Kravitz about his estranged wife. And I'm sure his first wife, Norma, sitting back somewhere laughing because she's like, girl, you thought you were getting the prize. You took my problems away. Now he's got.
Let me ask you though, Tanya B, on the real. It just seems like this kind of stuff pops up whenever there's a project coming out.
Do
you think?
But the way that he
do you think he's just stirring up?
No, it's not good. He did the same thing, you know, when he went with the girl whose lady parts he was shaving on Instagram, and they lied and broke up because they wanted to get their numbers up to get some kind of financial gain. But you know, things like that will backfire on you. And now Tyrese has got to pay his ex-wife because all this time this thing was going on, he wasn't paying her child support. He's got to give her a lump sum of $650,000, and he's got to pay her $400,000 legal fees. Wow. Now, if he doesn't pay, you know where he's going, right? He going to jail.
Yeah, and he was in Fulton County too. Wow. Yep.
I'm saying, and don't you dare get on there with no GoFundMe now. It's funny because they were talking about this group TGT, which is Tyrese, Genuine, and Tank. And Tank was like, why am I doing this? I don't need this. But I think, you know, anybody, Pop Genuine can use a check. You know, Tyrese need money. Because if you recall, he was acting so crazy when they were doing the press junkets for Fast and Furious, which comes out in, I think, 2 weeks. They didn't even include him. They used everybody else, but they did not include him because he was acting crazy. So Tyrese, please get on some meds. And I mean, seriously though, you have children, and you know, kids are cruel. And of course, his oldest daughter is a teenager now, and kids are cruel. And if she ends up getting bullied and teased and tormented because her father's acting like an ass, then you know what, Tyrese, when you put head to pillow at night, I don't think you should be able to sleep.
Let's hope he gets some help. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
He does. And sometimes, but you know what? You can't help people if they don't want to help themselves. That's the bad part about it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Also, you talked about Don Lemon. Now, you know, I think Don Lemon might have known. See, Don Lemon was crafty. The whole time he was stirring up all this stuff and talking smack, he was negotiating with his agent to get this new contract, which he just signed earlier this year. Do you know that the bag he's walking away with from CNN is $25 million?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so I hear he's got something else in the works, and I wonder if he'll write another book. I'm not sure. I heard there may be a daytime talk show slot. I don't know if it's gonna be the Don Lemon show somewhere, but he has enough money he can just start his own, whether he goes to YouTube or Grio or wherever. I wonder. I heard that was it News Nation where his friend Cuomo went.
I heard
that they have expressed some interest in him. So you know, so we will see. But the thing is, CNN's ratings were in the toilet before this whole thing started. And like you said, love him and hate him, people would tune in, especially even during the night and the day, just to see what he's going to say or what hole he was going to step into. So I think it was a little PR stunt going on here. But, you know, if you're smart, you can take $25 million and make it work for you for the next 25 years. So I don't think Don's going to miss a paycheck.
Well, you know, I mean, again, mixed opinions on Don. You know, our good friend, Rob Redding Jr. will refer to him as Don Sucks Lemons on his show. You know, so he was not a fan. You know, the only thing, you know, I think when it comes down to CNN, because CNN, you know, a lot of folks feel like CNN, the owner of CNN is a Republican. I mean, he's basically a conservative. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that they've been attempting to move the network to the middle for a minute. And honestly, Don Lemon might have been that piece they needed to effectively move it because there's really nobody left. you
Right,
know,
and King Charles is
like
not going
him.
to save that network.
Yeah.
King Charles is not going to save that network. I'm going on record and saying
No,
that right
no, no, not at all. Not at all. Not once a week. You know what I'm saying?
1 hour a week? No.
1 hour a week. No, not at all.
Not at all. All right, now let's talk. This is one of the hot stories of the week. And I always said, if you had the I say now the honor now of seeing the Fugees in concert before they broke up and went their separate ways, you know, you're amongst the minority, because there will never be a reunion, and here is why. Now, I told you about how Pras was talking about how Pras Michelle of the Fugees was talking about how he was an FBI informant, but baby, something else has come up, and he is facing 20 years in jail for being a spy for China. And he's been wait, but I was surprised I was convicted. To you're surprised you were convicted? Nobody was surprised but him. I mean, really? Looking at the way that the strained relations are now with the US and China.
Yeah.
He's looking at 20 years, and his life, as he knows, is over. So he better ooh la 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 and Fuji la down to the jail and try to start a rap group or be entertainment director in jail, because he is going to jail.
And you know what? A lot of folks don't understand that a lot of artists, a lot of entertainers are approached by, China all the time.
Yeah.
To collaborate on things. Yes.
Dennis Rodman.
And so you really have to know and understand whether or not what you're doing breaks laws, and they're all the time they approach them. So, I mean, what can you say?
Hey.
I hate it. I saw a post where somebody said, "Look, I can't believe they got Pras and they can't get Trump." I'm like, you ain't gonna compare.
I mean, no
I mean, I hate to say it, but you know why that goes down. But
from understanding, he got
pigmentation
situation. And don't you dare say he gonna call Lauryn Hill and Wyclef, because
Lauren ain't gonna say a word.
They got no money. She been to jail. And what's the other one? What's his name?
Wyclef.
He almost went to jail stealing up people's money from the Haiti earthquake. He need to be shamed. Shame on you.
Trying to get that man a lot of money too.
Well, I'm here to tell you, they approach a lot of artists
to pay his legal bill
on low key, even when it comes down to intellectual property, or even when it comes down, they have them front on these products. You just never know what's going on. You need to understand whether or not what you're doing is breaking the law. And FBI don't play. It's funny because I'm going to talk about the Tupac series, and if you've ever heard of COINTELPRO, how the FBI played
that was
back in the day, it was savage. That whole concept, in my opinion, I don't think it's gone away. They infiltrating left and right. So
and they don't even talk about it, because I just look at the show. They said the last guy, the breed of what his name, Malcolm X. He was an FBI agent.
Yeah, he was a cop. So my point is, it's like that goes on all the time, and it's still going on. So when you're approached by these other countries to do things, you better understand, because ultimately it's just you, because they can't go to jail. They can't go to jail.
Jail? No.
You are the citizen. They are not. Right. So I'm gonna leave it at that. What else you got? Go ahead.
I got one more thing. This just came up, and I want to say shout out to two people who are friends of the podcast. One is Will Downing, who's been on the podcast, as well as Najee, who's been on the podcast. And Will is now speaking out, and honestly, just in respect to his privacy. He lost his oldest daughter a couple of months ago to death by suicide. And now he's coming out and talking about it, being an advocate for Black mental health matters and for suicide. And he has just recorded a song with Najee. It's called Till We Meet Again. And I would just want to really encourage people, and I'll just erase the shame. We have a problem doing that as people of color and just minorities across the board. But, I just want to encourage people to go to his website. It is princeofsophisticatedsoul.com. All the information is up there. There's a video. The song is beautiful. Go to his Instagram as Will Downing 3. Just want to give him some love and light, because I can't imagine the pain he's going through right now, having lost his daughter. Because 2 days after that, he did not miss one show. But everyone channels their grief differently, but he actually did not cancel any shows. He went on, as a consummate professional. And I just hope, he will be a real advocate for change and just letting people know that, it's okay to grieve. It's okay to get help, as we've always talked about on this podcast. But, just wanting people to support him. So I just got to give him 5 on it for that.
Absolutely.
Can we get some applause for Will Downing, please?
Yeah, absolutely can. Here we go. There we go.
Will. I mean, I think it would be great to either get him back on here or even get, our.
I'm always up for it.
Our teammates from
just name the date.
Black Mental Health Matters to talk about this, because
name the date. Yeah.
Just to have to relive that and have to, who wants to get that call? So
I talked to them today. They're doing some big things. So
yeah. So let's support our brother Will Downing. Okay.
Absolutely. All you got to do is name the date. Just name the date.
Okay. Come on down, Will.
Come on down. Well,
actually, he's going to be in Atlanta next Saturday.
Name the date.
In 2 weeks, he'll be here for Mother's Day weekend. So yeah.
All
Shout
good.
out to Will Downing, friend to the show, friend to the podcast. And he plays so beautiful. Don't you agree?
Don't you agree? No,
Yes.
no problem. Name the date. All right. Appreciate you, Tanya B. Here we go.
What you watching this week, Tommy B?
Oh, yeah. A couple of things I'm excited about this week. Sweet Tooth season 2 is back. And, I know the real reason I keep Netflix is back, but it's coming in June. And people still can't stop raving about Dear Mama on FX. So those are 3 things. So jumping into it, Sweet Tooth season 2 is here. I don't know if you've had a chance to check out season 1, and the name alone might, a lot of older folks might say, "Hey, I'm watching nothing called Sweet Tooth," but Sweet Tooth is really a good show. It's an apocalyptic fairy tale produced by Robert Downey Jr., narrated by James Brolin, and it actually had been out a couple of years ago, to the point where you almost forget season 1. But they did a really good job going into season 2. So I binged it this week, all 8 episodes. Great story. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, just in summary, it revolves around a little deer human hybrid called Gus. He's born in a lab, and it creates a super virus that kills 92% of the world. Now, I'm not going to go into details on that, because season 2 kind of explains why the virus went down. And if you hit season 1, you may not understand it till you watch full season 2. He teams up with a former football star he calls him Big Man, and they kind of take on the world together as he's just looking for the woman who created him. He considers his mother. Season 2 takes right up where season 1 left off. Very emotional. I'm telling you, when you watch it, it sucks you in. But it's not for young kids. If you've got really young kids, it might be a little bit too much for them. It's kind of dark. It can be a bit violent, but definitely teens to adults, any age can watch it. Pulls you in, and I'm telling you, you'll want more. Season 2 is done, and definitely I can't help but think that this thing's going to be renewed for season 3. Gets an A- from my standpoint. It's a really good series. And again, the reason I really keep Netflix, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't put up a fight. This is not one of the ones I cancel, is because of Black Mirror. I love Black Mirror. Honestly, if Black Mirror was the only show on Netflix, I would probably pay monthly for them to keep Black Mirror. That's the reason I watch it. So season 6 is coming back. It's coming back in June. They made the big announcement this week. The creator, Charlie Brooker, promises it to be a rule-breaking show. And there are a lot of rules he put in place that he would not do with this show, but he's breaking the rules. It's very cinematic. It's going to be big among the stars. You guys remember Breaking Bad? Did you ever watch Breaking Bad? Aaron Paul is going to be in it. Selma Hayek, Mike Cera, Zazie Beetz from Atlanta. She's going to be in it. Many, many more star-studded. I can't wait. Looking forward to it in June. I guess you're watching Dear Mama on FX.
Oh yeah, man, love it.
And it just, I'm telling y'all, it just it continues to deliver. I mean, I thought the first 2 episodes were cool, But the third episode,
They're just getting started.
Yeah, it's just
Go-
so educational to me. I'm going to do. I did not know some of this stuff they spin out.
dude, it is a history lesson.
Like
It is a
the FBI and what thug life meant to him. It wasn't what we thought it was, but
Yeah.
dang.
it is just that deep. Social commentary. Plus, it's got the whole Mother's Day message, the mother's message, the connection. And again, if you're unfamiliar with the term COINTELPRO and how it impacted the Panthers and many other organizations, it definitely goes into that.
Oh, that's going on. Like you said, that's going on now. I'm pretty sure it is.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure it's going on.
Look,
Yeah.
remember Olivia Pope on
Yeah.
Scandal? It's happening. Trust
It's
me.
happening. One episode is going to continue to drop. The final episode airs May 13th, which is Mother's Day weekend. Again, just in time for Mother's Day. It is a tragically beautiful story. I'm here to tell you. I mean, I tell you, I wasn't going to watch it in the beginning. And I really sat down and took the time, and I couldn't look away from it. And I got to give it, again, Alan Hughes. It's just when you look at the imagery, the pictures, the interviews, the video.
It's the interviews, man.
Oh,
and I love hearing when a mama talk, when they talk about her.
Yeah.
They talk about her story.
Yeah. It's beautiful, man. And it's just like, you can understand why Tupac wrote the song Dear Mama. When you watch this. I'm impressed by it. So again, hats off to the estate as well as to Alan Hughes and all the folks involved in this project. Don't miss it. I just gotta say that. A couple of things left over, and I want to get back to some news that I missed before we close out. But rapper Rick Ross is gonna get Fayetteville about to turn it. They about to shut him down. He's over. I mean, I couldn't believe he's messing with Fayette County, but his neighbors are asking the county to stop his June 3rd car and bike show, which he did last year. It shut down the neighborhood. They couldn't get out. And this year, Lil Wayne's gonna be there. So
Can you blame the neighbors? I can't believe he shouldn't even get a permit. That is an outdoor concert. That's a liability. Number one. Number two,
he's got a huge estate, a lot of property, but go ahead.
No, but I mean, look. Anytime if your moose comes over in my yard, we got a problem. So I mean,
not to mention the buffaloes.
Oh, buffalo, whatever.
The buffalo.
You know what? He needs to go buy his own island somewhere.
Damn. I mean, it's bad enough. Plus, he offered Don Lemon a job at his wing shop, and he offered to name an energy drink after Don Lemon. Don Lemon, I think he declined. But the bottom line is,
at his wing shop.
Yeah. He owns what's the name of it? The wing.
He owns a bunch of wing stops.
Yeah, the wing stops. Yeah, he owns wing stops.
How this man gonna go from a top not celebrity to? Can I take your order, please? How many wings?
No. Now, if he let him own a wing stop, I could see that. But don't let me
I'm like, hey, look. Rick Rose just snatched the headlines. That's what he did.
That's all he wanted.
He just snatched the headline. He snatched the headline. But let me get back to this, okay? And I gotta say this because I live like I'm going. I mean, I don't live far from Shaq, but my situation is totally different because you might have a shack house and then you really got a literal shack, like a couple. So it's not like all the homes are equitable around me. So my point is, but in his neighborhood, it's Fayette County. And Fayette County don't play. They're one of those counties in Georgia that's just notorious. The cops, the city. So the neighbors are basically coming together and they're saying, look, we need to stop this. Last year we could not get out of our neighbor. We were blocked in. We couldn't leave. A lot of folks are saying they're just going on vacation on June 3rd. They're not going to be there.
Yeah, take a vacation.
So, Tanya B, you had something to say
I
before
got
we
to
went.
leave my house because you want to make money. That man said it took him 40 minutes to get out of his subdivision. I don't give a rat's
I would
tail.
email him and say, Rick,
unless Rick Ross is going to pay me to leave my house.
There you go.
Maybe I'll think about it.
Rick, you need to pay my vacation. I'll be willing to leave.
So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's in front of the county. And the county has to make a decision whether or not they want to shut it down, but we'll see. Just a couple of things. I'm going to move on. Essence Magazine reports Tia Mowry has finalized the divorce from Corey Hardrick. That's final. The BET Awards is coming up June 25th, 50 years of hip hop. Apparently I'm not gonna, I'm not a big wrestling fan, but the fact that Vince McMahon is being sued by this a black or a writer that says
Yeah.
that he forced her to write racist scenes and plots. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch. It doesn't surprise me because wrestling has always had stereotypes and racism tied into it over the years. Going back. Yeah, so
they sell it.
Yeah, but it goes beyond bad guy, good guy when it comes down. A lot of it that you did back in the day is completely politically incorrect in 2023.
It's ridiculous.
So it's kind of like Abdullah the Butcher and some of the other stuff that they've done. You can't do that stuff in 2023. Also, congrats to SZA, her Kill Bill. I didn't know this was like her first #1 Billboard. So that single now is #1. That's her first #1. Shout out to Ime Udoka, Nia Long's ex. He's been hired by the Houston Rockets. Now, this is crazy. This guy, William Moore, played for the Falcons, okay? His daughter has a play date with the little kid he met on the playground near his neighborhood. I guess they come together again. They go out on the playground. Apparently, you know how it is between little girls. There was some kind of spat. He came back and claimed that this lady's niece slapped his daughter during the impromptu play date. And Moore comes out with a gun when they get in the car, this woman and 2 little girls, this big dude, and shoots at the car. So Moore has been charged with 2 counts of child cruelty, 1 count of criminal damage to property, and 1 count of possession of a firearm during a commission of a crime. And he played for the Falcons from 2009 to 2015, made the Pro Bowl in 2015. That's how it's amazing how people are so on edge when it comes down to these guns, which gets me back to some news we missed about the shooting that happened I guess, we tape on Sunday, happened Saturday, where 5 were shot from the neck up, execution style. Cleveland, Texas, near Houston. There's a manhunt currently on the way. The guy, I guess he's believed to have fled the country. I think he was Mexican. The neighbors went over to the house and just asked him, "Hey, we've got a kid. Stop shooting your gun in the yard. You're waking up our child." So he comes back and shoots 5 people from the neck up, execution style. Just crazy. 3 females, 2 males, and the youngest 8-year-old boy. Just sad. You know what I mean? Thoughts?
Terrible. It's terrible.
I don't know how much more it's I can't even articulate it. Either way, it's a loss of life. But the fact that it was being called migrant on migrant violence.
Yeah.
That shows how this whole thing is being discounted when you still have loss of life. So if this guy, who probably couldn't have gone more than probably back over the Mexican border,
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna end up dead either way. I mean, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't bring back the people. But I'm just saying, where do you flee to? And the other thing, here's my other thing. He might have clearly there was some ticky boom going on, some mental illness going on there. But here's my thing. I don't know how long he had been in this country as a so-called migrant, as he was labeled.
Mm-hmm.
We're in there, okay, which means if you come in, you probably don't have ID, a whole lot of things. Where did he get the guns from, y'all? Where'd the guns come from?
He had a 15 AR-15.
AR-15. You just don't go down to the swap meet, and maybe you can in Texas. I don't know, and just buy something like that.
Yeah, so true.
So I'm sure, and I don't like that, and I'm just gonna call him that moron. Yes, I said it. If you want to come for me, you can try it. Of a governor that they have down there. I don't know. I haven't seen where he said anything.
Yeah.
But he probably got up out of his. Let me be quiet. He probably did a wheelchair praise dance. He don't care about those people.
Yeah, I agree. But you know what shocks me, and we'll get into it. I want to get we had Who's Your Frat came on the show. Lockwood came on. I'd love to have Lock on. Even Pharrell, invite Pharrell back. It's been a minute because I just don't get And I know when it comes down to probably, there's some language barriers when you have, certain communities and these happen. It happens within certain communities that we may not have access to. But just in general, man, you just got to ask. You see a lot of people of faith, especially the evangelicals right now. They're so focused on don't say black, don't say gay, trying to attack Disneyland, Disney World, that, they're just totally ignoring the fact that all these shootings are happening. And, it's just out of control. If you believe Jesus turned water into wine and that and the Red Sea was parted, then why can't you believe, you could do your part in stopping, gun violence? You know what I mean? Because they'll quickly say, oh, that's out of heart. But everything else you can control. You can, you know what I mean? Everything else morally, you feel like you can go after and control people's behavior, but you can't do anything about gun control. What does that mean?
Not that they can't, they're just not trying.
Right. And that's my point. That's the hypocrisy is, you'll go after choice, you'll go after, banning books, you'll do everything. But when it comes down to the obvious that you can control, oh, no, that's no, not going to touch it. Can't touch this. Like Hammer, can't touch this. So, all right, y'all. Last minute thoughts. Tanya B.
I have two last minute thoughts. One is, I just want to say happy birthday to my baby sister, Darlene.
Yeah.
She listens all the time.
Appreciate you, Darlene. Appreciate you.
And I just want to say prayers up to the family of Tampa Bay Buccaneers player Shaquille Barrett. His 2-year-old just died in a pool, drowned in a pool. I'm sorry.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
Again, just the loss of a child is just, and I remember, and I'll be real quick, my aunt saying to me, this is my mother, Bravina, my aunt Bravina, my favorite aunties, the one who's the mother of our murdered Sheriff-elect Jerwin Brown. She said, I've lost my father, I've lost my husband, but the pain of losing a child is greater than any of them. So when you have, this like Shaquille Barrett, and you have people like Will Downing, I just, I don't know if there's enough love, light, and prayers to help lift them up. I just can't imagine what they're going through right now. So on the serious note, let's just keep these people and their family in our prayers, for real.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Vi, you got anything last, final?
Yeah, it's about these guns, man. I'm really starting to lose hope. Not hope, but the government. I mean, how many more kids got to die before we do anything but this gun control? To me, that should be a main topic in re-election.
Yeah.
What are you going?
It should be a main topic in re-election, but I'm gonna get to why.
And I think abortion should be a main topic of re-election.
Yeah, the money.
Those two should be a main topic of election.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm here to tell you the most discouraging thing for me, and I've lived in the South, all my life for the most part. Even when I moved around, hell, I moved south, Southwest. But it's discouraging when you look at voter participation in Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina. Now, Georgia last time just showed out. I mean, Georgia is 50% plus. But these other states are 40% down, negative, when it comes down to voter, participation, when it comes down to actually just engaging the process. And we say it on this podcast. I've said it several times before. Elections matter. And when you've got people like in Georgia, we've got the lieutenant governor who's basically trying to take black out of out of everything. He's pushing hard. He's the one who tried to take the airport away from Atlanta. He wanted to basically take the airport away from Atlanta and just assign it to the state. So I will applaud Keisha Lance Bottoms because she's one of the few who's spoken out about him. Yes, she did. She's one of the few who's spoken out. And it's really sad because, I don't, the woke thing, y'all can have that. Black folks had it. We used it. We got what we needed out of it. We moved on. But when a lot of these folks are using this basically just for the culture, for culture wars, so they can rev up their base to get people to come out and vote, because that's all it is. Everything that DeSantis is doing is supposed to be revving up his base. But somebody said it best this week. What he's really doing is revving up a base that's shrinking. you know, and I'm telling y'all, I'm just waiting for Disney to come out and say, look, we out of here.
But you know what?
Right
If
now.
Disney leaves the state of Florida, they will probably go into almost bankruptcy because they're the largest employer, and they even with all the breaks that they get, they pay more taxes, and a whole lot of people that go to Florida to avoid paying taxes. So that will send that state into financial ruin. It will no longer be so-called the best place to retire. They can have it. And I listen to him talk. He sounds like a fourth grader. I'm like, who elected his ass?
Well, he's suffering in the polls, and that's one of the things right now. So typically it's kind of like, you know, when you got a coyote in a trap, he just you know how it is. They just gonna chew their leg off until they get up out the trap. He's gonna do everything possible. So a lot of desperation is gonna start sinking in, and there's no telling what this guy's gonna do. And I think a lot of these cats are just getting desperate now. But we have to be, you know, it's amazing. And I'm gonna leave it at this. I'm gonna turn it over to you, Vi, for the benediction. But you know, I got to give it up to Lady J. She sent me this TD Jakes' his sermon from last week. TD Jakes went off, no lie. I mean, this is what black pastors need to be doing across the country. He just went off. I mean, he talked about, you know, the way, you know, everybody's pitted against each other, and you know, we're not paying attention to the truth. The truth matters, and you know, it's just, you know, it was refreshing to hear it, because that's what pastors should be doing. Not only black pastors, but these evangelicals. But they're so caught up in power. They're so caught up in just getting what they need from these cats. But they want to get, like, they got the abortion, they got Roe v. Wade overturned, so they happy, they drunk on that power trip, so they looking for more, you know. So it is what, I'm not gonna say it is what it is. We have the power, but we have to exercise that. And if we just keep sitting back and wait for somebody else to do it, it's just going to continue to cascade downward. I hate to say that, but that's what's going to happen. You know, so, you know, that is, you know, that's my little sermon. I'm getting off my soapbox. Vi, you go on your soapbox. Get on your soapbox, Vi.
Please, we need it. We need it.
All right, y'all. Here we go.
You know, I didn't come here to preach to you today.
Here's your inspirational moment with Vi.
What you got, Vi?
Most of us have a distorted idea about patience. We think of it as something designed to help us suffer failure gracefully. But according to scriptures, it will actually put us on the path to success. Patience is the power twin of faith. They work together to see to it that the promise of God fulfilled in your life. You see, faith opens the door to God's promise for you, and patience keeps it open until that promise fulfilled. Don't let the delay of failure discourage you. Put patience to work. The word guarantees you will receive your reward. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 35 through 36. Therefore, do not cast away your confidence, which has great rewards. For you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of God, you may receive the promise. Faith is confidence in God. In other words, people, keep the faith. Just because things ain't going where you want to go at this time, don't mean that it won't. But they say God don't give you what you want. He give you what you need. So
yes.
Have the faith. Amen. Amen.
And I'm gonna say faith without works is dead. That's all I got. I'm gonna leave it at that. But I gotta say real quick, kudos to TD Jakes for announcing 10-year partnership, which happens over at Fort Mac. Unfortunately, Wells Fargo is involved in it, but still, they owe us money. They owe us money. So that's what I'm saying. So Wells Fargo is committed up to $1 billion to foster a mixed income project over at Fort Mac, and I'm looking forward to it. Shout out to Karen Renee, Councilwoman Karen Renee over in East Point, and the folks over in East Point. And also congrats to her for getting a big award from the 100 Black Men South Metro. We appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your support. Don't forget, go to castropolis.net. Everything you need is right there. And for those like Vi who don't know, we are now on YouTube. You can look for us on YouTube at This Is the Deep Podcast on YouTube. We have our live tapings there. And all you have to do is hit the bell and receive notifications. And with that, y'all, we really appreciate you. Thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Episode 173 is in the can. We are out of here. Peace and power to the people. Y'all have a great week.
2024, y'all got to vote. 2024.
Go Philly Dogs. Go Philly Dogs.
Go in and cook it. Go cook me some chicken. Talking.